2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your glad rags on, join me, honey. We'll have some fun with the clock tonight's one. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
Welcome to Celebrity Talk. I'm Liam Kelly, and I'm here with three fabulous musicians who are now part of the group that started it all, Bill Haley's Comets. On my left, I have the Birdman, Mr. David Bird from
Nashville, Tennessee.
He's the keyboard player. We have the bass player, Lou Colby,
Las Vegas, Nevada.
And Action Jackson, the lead guitar and vocalist.
I'm from Borger, Texas.
That's great.
South of Minnesota somewhere, isn't it?
Now, we usually start out, we want to get a little background on how everybody got involved in the business and, you know, how you started out. And, well, we'll start from this side first. What was your idol or inspiration that got you?
Oh, gosh. I'm just now 60, and I really grew up enjoying the Beatles a lot. Of course, Bill Haley and the Comets, definitely, but a lot of the soul groups back in the 60s. Aretha Franklin, my first concert, actually, was James Brown.
Really?
Yeah. But my father was a country and western musician, so I grew up listening to western swing and had a lot of diverse input in my younger years.
Yeah. That was my next question. You know, how many of you had musical backgrounds in your family? Did any of you fellas come from a musical family? Or?
Sure. My dad was a Baptist minister. I had 6 sisters and a brother, and it was no big deal if anybody played piano around my house, because they all did. Yeah.
How about you, Lou?
I had distant relatives that I didn't know till much later after I started in the business. They were in the music business.
That's sort of like hitting the lottery. Everybody knows you have to hit the lottery.
I guess. I'm still hoping on that one.
Well, when did you all first start playing?
Oh, I started when I was about 3 or 4 years old, playing guitar and just chords on guitar and stuff. Then went to piano, and of course played in church. And then when I got 18 years old, I left my hometown in Oneida, Tennessee, moved to Ohio, and started playing on records and with different groups. And worked with a guy named Lonnie Mack, had a record named Memphis Instrumental in '63. And I stayed with him about 6, 7 years. And then that took me on into, met my wife, who was a country music singer, and she ended up doing duets with Bill Anderson and on the Grand Ole Opry. So that caused us to move from Dayton, Ohio to back to Nashville, and stayed over there. And then I became a session player, what they call a session player, which plays on records and stuff. And in about '86, I met a guy named Boxcar Willie. And in '87, he bought a theater here in Branson. So I moved from Nashville over here. And after 13 years, I stayed with Boxcar, and he passed away. Then I started playing in different theaters. And then the Comets came to town, and then that became available later on. So I've been with them about 5 years now with the Comets.
5 years?
Yeah.
And Lou, how about you? What other groups did you play with?
Well, I was in Vegas for 38 years, so I played most of the major shows out there with the house bands in the hotels. I was in the Sands Lounge for 11 and a half years during the really good days out there. And
playing with multiple groups? Or?
Yeah, well, in the lounge it was basically one group, but we'd have subs because everybody'd be out on the road or doing another show. But
yeah.
It was basically Sonny King and Vito Musso.
And who was your inspiration to get
Well, I came a little different from these guys. I was kind of into jazz and big band. So my influences were like Count Basie, which I still dearly love. Ray Brown, of course, is a bass player, and those type of groups. And although I listened to all styles of music, that's where my influence was the big bands and the jazz groups. So
Great.
That's...
And Jackson, how about you? I know there's a lot of great pickers come out of Texas.
Oh.
What was your inspiration to get started into the business?
Well, gosh, it's funny. Like David said, we're here in Branson, Missouri right now, and playing on a double bill with Paul Revere and the Raiders. And I told Paul the other day I used to run home from junior high school there in Texas because where the action is started every day right after school was out, and I'd sit down in a chair right in front of the TV with my guitar and try to figure out what they were playing, the chords and everything. But as I said before, my father was a musician, and they'd have little jamborees in the living room at our house on Saturday nights, and I'd sit over in the corner and act like I was playing on this guitar that didn't have any strings. And about 8 years old, my mother and father took me to the Borger High School auditorium, and we saw a group that came through, and it was out of Nashville, and it was Marty Robbins and Buck Owens and people like that. And I knew then that I really wanted to do that. So I actually got a guitar when I was 12 and started playing and had my own band by 15, and eventually migrated on up to Oklahoma City. And I had my own group at a nightclub there for...
What was the name of your group?
It was called Jackie Haney and the Click. And my Christian name's Jackie. And so I had that group for 13 years. And when I left, I started doing a solo called Jack and the Box. And in fact, my band is still in Oklahoma City with Speedy West and the Click. And they've been there 23 years in the same nightclub. But I came up here doing a little solo, playing with tracks and singing. And as fate would have it, about 3 weeks into the thing, up here, I got a phone call from a representative of the Comets, and he said that the original guitar player was going to retire, or semi-retire, and he moved back to Philadelphia, I guess. Yeah. And so I auditioned, and I told them I didn't play guitar that much, but I was a wardrobe manager for a polka band. And so they needed a wardrobe manager, and they hired me. And I think it impressed Joey because he asked me what my influences were, and I told him it was Fleetwood Mac Davis. So, yeah. But ended up with the group. I've been with them for 5 years, and it's just a thrill every day. I'm having the time of my life, living the dream.
Yeah. And you've done a lot of traveling since you've been with the Comets.
Before I joined the group, I'd never been east of the Mississippi, and the first rattle out of the box, we played up and down the west coast or east coast, and then next thing I know, we landed in Berlin and did our first European tour. So I'm seeing things and doing things that I never dreamed possible thanks to this musical opportunity.
That's great. How about you fellas? How much traveling did you do before you joined Comets? Did you European tours or anything? Or?
Yeah, a lot of tours with country music artists before I came with the Comets, especially in the 70s, the late 70s. Johnny Cash and Johnny Russell, Bob Luman, boy, just the list goes on and on. Slim Whitman, a bunch of people, through Europe. And then I thought my European days were over, and then I got with the Comets, and it just doubled back up again. But it's always a pleasure to go over there with these guys. It's a whole different audience than what I was used to playing to, over there with country artists and everything. But it's amazing what they still do in Europe.
Yeah, it's funny. I find that a lot of the American artists that go overseas are still so revered over there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Some people can't even get arrested in their own hometown. They go over there and they're like idols. How about you?
Well, I found out this year, of course, was my first year to go to Europe with the Comets. They're almost like royalty over there. Like it's a cult following, almost, and not just the people of our age. The young people are just following it. They know more about the Comets than I did when I went over there, because this is my first year with them. So I learned a lot, because they'd say, well, so and so. I say, oh, really? And they look at me like, well, don't you know? I said, I didn't know that. I did not know that. But they do. They know. I mean, they know birthdays of people that have been with the Comets. They know where they're from, the date they were born. I think the hospital they were born in.
Yeah.
They're fans.
They do their homework.
They really do.
Yeah.
They're great fans, though.
And a lot of the artists today were inspired by the Comets early on.
Absolutely.
A lot of the top stars today. How's your lovely wife doing?
She's doing fantastic.
Is she still singing? Or?
She is. She's doing a thing now called Family Reunion, which is hosted by Bill Anderson, and they film it in Nashville. Then they also take the show on the road, and they do it exactly on the road like they do on television, with all the settings, on stage and everything.
Well, she and Bill were a great duo together for a long time too.
They had a lot of hits.
A lot of hits.
Yeah, a lot of hits.
Who's this?
Bill Anderson and my wife.
Oh, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrific. And I guess you're going to stay with the group until
Well, even after I drop, they're going to have to drag me off. Yeah.
Takes your base away, right?
Well, no, don't say that because the bank might. But no, I'm going to stay as long as they'll have me. It's been just great. The guys are great to me, and love working the music. I had not done a lot of rock and roll, and just thoroughly enjoying it, and the travel with them, and it's just, you know, what more could you ask for?
Well, one thing I noticed, the show, it's a terrific show, and you guys, it comes through to the audience that you guys are really having fun up there doing what you're doing. So, you know, I'll attend every show if I can because it never gets too old for me. And I think that's about it for Celebrity Talk, and I want to thank all you guys for coming out, and thank you for keeping the music alive.
It's always good to see you.
It's always a
You
pleasure.
too, thank you. And we'll see you next time.